rebuilding confidence, and harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zeimet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beverly Zeimet Show, where being that best you has just gotten easier. My guest today, calling in from Texas, is Michi Renee. Welcome to the show, my dear.
Thank you for having me on, Beverly. I am super excited to see what unfolds today.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. You just never know on this show what's going to happen. But one thing I can tell you, we like to have fun, we like to share great information, and just kind of make a difference in not only our life, but the lives of those that are listening. And the theme of the show, of course, is being that best you that you can be, which means that there's always room for what? Improvement, and to keep getting even better and better, right?
Absolutely. All
So,
for improvement.
so what would you like to share with the audience today about Michi and what she does down there in Texas and how she is looking to make a change in the world and just be you?
Yes. 2020 was a whole year of just being me.
Okay.
I would say the transition actually started in December of 2019. Um, I am a believer in God, and He is first and foremost in my life. So I knew going into 2020, we had had this conversation because God is my homeboy. And my plan was to, as of 1/1/2021, that I was going to fire my employer and operate in my business full time. But what I didn't know at the time that me and God had this conversation in December of 2019, that He was going to speed it up. And so,
I think he kind of sped it up for a lot of us, right?
yes. So in April of 2019, my HR department advised me and a bunch of other people that we were going to be put on furlough for 2 months. So that was around April 12th. So June 12th, we would have been coming back. However, 5 weeks into the furlough, that same HR department calls again and says, we are going to do a layoff. And myself and a bunch of other people were laid off in June of 2020. So, however, before the HR department called, I already knew God told me you're not going back. So
Uh-huh.
I knew at the moment that they called the furlough that I was not going back because God had already told me I wasn't going back. And He needed me to rise up, focus on His women, and help them step into the things that He has called them to do, whether that was starting a for profit business, a nonprofit business, or stepping into ministry. And it wasn't a surprise. I mean, I already knew what the
Right?
calling and the plan was. I just was expecting it wasn't happening until
Hey, there's no time
January of
like
this.
the present, you know?
Exactly.
Sometimes it's, again, we look at time. What is time? Time can be very irrelevant, right?
Yes.
And so when you start living life as no time and space and just allow to be and let it take place, and I think you probably got a taste of that in 2020, right?
Yes, absolutely. I just allowed God to lead me in the way He wanted me to go, who I was to serve, how I was to serve them. And the best thing for me was doing business with God. Before 2019, I've always had a personal relationship with God, always gone to church, all those things, but I've always compartmentalized God from my business, God from my job, separated the things out. And yes, I was successful, But had I had that at the forefront, I probably would have been further along on my journey than I am now. So with this venture and this journey, I was like, okay, God, I did it my way. Now I'm going to do it your way and see what happens. See what results I get when I do it your way. Um, and so just surrendering to the process, to the learning, to the journey, to everything that has gone on, that's happened, the people that have blessed me, the ones that I've blessed, the people that have come across my path, and vice versa. It's just been amazing. It's just been an amazing year. I know some people will say 2020 was horrible. No, it was not. Number one, we're still here.
There you go.
We're still here. People died. People didn't make it. We're still here. And I've learned so many things last year. 2020 was not a waste for me. It was not.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, it wasn't a waste for me either. I think there was an extreme. It was a total awakening and awareness of the world
Yeah.
around you and, more importantly, the world within. Right?
Yes.
And that's where it begins. So we live in this duality world. Which side of the fence are you on? What's the extremes that's going to happen? And it was a huge awakening last year. And
Yeah.
again, it's like when you start looking within to see what's really there, because it's given us that time that we didn't take for ourselves
Yes, absolutely.
to to get to recognize, who really am I,
Yeah.
right? And what is my sole purpose? And
Yes,
to
absolutely.
yeah, and it looks
Clarity
like
begins at home, and
yeah,
home starts with you, right in your physical dwelling. So
yes.
you can't give something you don't have. And I think the pandemic really allowed us to sit down, to quiet, to relax, to listen to that still small voice, to not ignore our intuition, to get rid of some things and people that aren't serving us, and
Now
really
there's a
putting
key what you just said. Eliminating those from your life that aren't in that process. It's not that they're a bad person or anything. Let's move away from the good bad thing. Let's move away from what is putting me on track or off track.
absolutely.
Regardless if it's others that we surround ourselves with, whether it's our stinking thinking, whether it's a job, no matter what that is, what are the things that no longer serve purpose? And you said a very powerful word: surrender. you
It's
know
hard.
uh, I just
It's hard. It's hard to surrender. And it's almost like you have to keep doing it daily, surrendering. It's like it's a constant process. You don't just do it one time. You have to keep surrendering because the ego will rise up. And it's like, no, 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 quiet down.
it's there's so many subconscious things that go on with that word surrender, because a lot of times it's been taught that if you surrender, it means you're giving up. It means
Yeah,
that you're a loser, and all of these false statements, when really,
yeah,
when you surrender, you win the war. For the
yeah,
simple fact is that when there's no destruction, when there's no battle going on, there's no war.
yeah. That's ease and flow. That's grace. You can do
Right.
anything without hustling. You can just walk on water almost, just
As long as you
glide
know
through
where the
the
rocks
air.
are, right?
Just glide through the air when you're surrendering and allowing that which what you believe higher than yourself
Right.
to lead you, hands down, that is
Right.
it.
Right. I kind of look at this game that we play, because we're everything's a game here, and you can make it fun or you can make it not so fun. So when you watch a game, there's always an offense and a defense,
Mm-hmm.
right? When
Yep.
you were on the defense, it's like you're always trying to defend your choices, your beliefs, your truths, all of these different things. You're trying to convince others that your way is the only way, the best way, when in essence, if you go on the offense, if you begin to play offense, and this is where that surrender comes in. So when you are in the offensive play mode, now you're in listening mode, you're in action and showing versus telling.
Yeah.
Right? And actions do speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
So if you want to get rid of that little word called surrender because it kind of makes a uncomfortable feeling, is say, am I playing offense or defense?
Yeah. It can trigger people.
Yeah.
Surrender can trigger people.
Oh,
Seriously.
it can, and then the defense gets even stronger, right? Because they're fighting more. No, wait a minute, no, I don't want to do that because no, you can't. And it's like, slow down, as you said, right? But it's taking the offensive way versus the defensive way, and that just kind of puts it in a different perspective,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And that's what life is all about: is how you perceive who you are, what you are, why you are, where you are, and the whole enchilada, right? So your perception is not always the same as someone else's. And I
Yeah.
think one of the other difficult things that people have is to just honor the other person for their decisions and their choices and their beliefs. But
Even if
first,
it's not the one and the same of their own,
right?
it's you can still be respectful
Yes,
in a decision that someone else has made. Sometimes our BS, which is our belief systems,
there you
keep us
go.
stuck.
Well,
Our BS
yeah.
keeps us stuck. Our
Well,
belief
you
systems keep us stuck right there.
the stuck is right, and you're not walking in that person's shoes,
Yeah.
right? And so if you want them to respect and honor you, you need to respect and honor yourself and give that back in return. Because you don't know what their purpose is,
Yeah.
right? And
That's
when you can start honoring each other, then the collaboration works together. Everything comes out in more of a organized manner instead of a completely disarray and upside down, because you're in that conflict, right? Everybody's on the defense, and when you're playing defense to defense, nothing
who
happens.
knows? That's like a tornado.
Or worse, right?
Yeah. Defense to defense. That's a tornado waiting, or an earthquake waiting to happen.
Yes, yes.
The natural disaster.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sure you, as well as I, have had our own, you know, number of disasters that,
Yeah.
let's start working the other direction and avoid the disasters, because again, when we get out of our own way, and through that surrendering, through that playing offense, those disasters are less to happen. Or if they do happen, they're not going to be as drastic, or you'll be able to
Right.
catch it before it does totally, annihilate, right?
Shift. You're able to make a shift when you notice that you're in the midst of that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's that awareness. It's, that inner fight that's going on, when you can understand that and say, well, wait a minute, why do I consistently want to battle with myself? Wouldn't it be more better to say, let me be comfortable with who I am in my skin? Let
Yeah.
me really get to know who I am, why I am, what I am, where I'm going to go. And that's that identity revelation, who is your true identity? Because when
That
you can
takes work
become,
though.
well,
That takes
it,
work, and people aren't ready, willing, able, or committed to doing it.
that last word you said, the commitment. It's like, I want somebody else to tell me what to do, but I don't want to be told what to do. But if somebody tells me what to do and I do it and it doesn't work, I can blame them, right?
Yeah.
So it's this crazy cycle we get ourselves on, right? But it really is about being committed to yourself in the change that you want.
Right.
How is what you're doing working for you? Are you doing the same thing over and over, expecting another outcome?
Definition of insanity.
Not gonna happen. Sounds good,
Right.
but all these things in theory. I love science and the things behind it, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at when you look at theory, and then all of a sudden you start putting theory into action. And it's like, why isn't it working like it's supposed to work? Because theory says it's going to do this. Not so much, right?
Right.
Kind of like your situation. Here's the theory that you put together, right?
Yes.
And all of a sudden it says, well, we're not going to talk about this time thing. We're just going to put you in action.
Right.
So, Michi, tell us a little bit about what that action is. What exactly did you begin to do differently after you were removed from your 9 to 5? What does that look like? What is it you actually do?
It's an inspired action every single day. But what I do is I am a business and monetization coach. So I help women, and specifically Christian women, to start, grow, build, and scale, and monetize online businesses, ministries, or nonprofits. So I'm a ministry and nonprofit consultant, so I can help them start everything from ground up. So, like the basics of the legal structure, getting your 501c3, your board members, all those kinds of things to operate in a online space. And I also do business coaching for people who are in service-based businesses, coaches, VAs, course creators, creatives, those kind of people, whether they're looking to start, whether they're looking to build and grow and scale what they already have. I do that through courses. I do that through group coaching programs. I do that through even the free value that I provide. That's on YouTube, what's on my podcast. I am here to help people step into do what they know that they're called to do. We know what we're supposed to be doing as women. We don't always do it because either number one, we're confused, we're overwhelmed with life, kids, budgets, bills, family, husband, or we just flat out are in disobedience. We just ain't gonna do it. Let's just keep it real. Women's liberation has, taken us to another level. We just ain't gonna do it.
Yes, yes.
The old saying, it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind, and we change ours frequently.
There's a lot of truth in what you just said.
So,
That is for sure. And again, it's that how to, and I think that's probably what you're finding as well. And not just women, but men as well in life is like, okay, I think I know what I want out there. I'm not real clear on it, and clarity is relevant here.
absolutely.
You
That's
know,
the main part where I start, is with the clarity piece.
right.
That's where I start in anything that I do with anyone, whether it's a VIP day, whether it's a group program, a course, whatever. It all starts with getting clear. If you
Right.
can't get clear, you cannot get off the hamster wheel. You're
There
going to
you go.
keep going around in circles and circles and circles until you get clear. And then the second thing, we got to get rid of fear, false evidence appearing real. That's the second thing, clarity and then fear. If we can get rid of fear, we would have cures for cancer, AIDS, all these things. If people would step on the other side of fear, just do it, even while you're scared. But some people, they can't even get past the point of doing it scared. They're just immobilized in fear.
That's so true. And it is moving on to the other side of it. There is no fear except fear itself. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this. However, you are not born with fear. Fear is
Nope.
something that's taught,
Yep.
right? And it goes into a belief system. And when you
Yes.
can begin to recognize the belief system, then it's like, okay. And actually, as you said, surrender to the circumstance. The circumstance is not going to shift. It's not going to change. It's how
Yeah.
you perceive it and how you respond to it. So, is the circumstance ruling your life and your actions? Or are you going to step up to the plate, take charge of the circumstance, and figure out a way to go beyond that. It's kind of like a friend of mine was sharing when she was in the police academy.
Mm-hmm.
And out in the middle of nowhere, they have this big, huge cement wall. And they tell you, get over the wall, right? And it's like you gotta fight to climb or whatever. You gotta get to the other side, right? Get to the other side of the wall.
Yeah. It's standing in that authority because, God spoke everything into existence. He
Right.
spoke light, He spoke dark, He spoke the stars, He spoke. So you need to speak
That's why you
whatever it
that's why
is.
you have a voice. But first off,
Yes.
you must listen. You have two ears and one mouth. Listen to the messages and then respond. And it's interesting. Let me finish this little story. I think you're going to love this because it really makes a point. So they put you out there and they tell you, get to the other side of that wall. What is the first thing that goes into the mind? You're looking at this wall, get to the other side. Okay, we make it difficult.
Yeah. Just go around.
So we have to, there you
You
go.
have to go over it.
That's right. And so she's like, like everyone else there, they're on the rope and they're trying to get, he gets so high and then down you go because this was a really high wall, right? And she said, the struggle got so tough, and she didn't want to give up because she wanted to prove herself that she can do this and she just sat down on the ground and she started to cry and it's like, okay, please God, I need to get to the other side. I've got to get over this thing, right? And then all of a sudden she got the message. It was like, let's just get to the other side. It doesn't mean you have to go over it. She got up and she just walked around it, right? And it was like so empowering. Because
Yeah.
again, we look at the things right in front of us. And the first place we go to, it has to be difficult. Now, this is an old limiting belief. Because how
Yeah.
many times have you heard, hey, if it's not hard, it's not worth doing?
Yeah. That is so out of the flow of God. Everything is with ease and flow.
Right.
That is not of God. If you have to struggle, God is not a God of struggle. You do not have to struggle. That is
Exactly.
man. That is something that we have taught ourselves to do. That is not of God. You should not be struggling at all.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? All these old statements that we hear, growing up, and we're watching, what other people are doing, and they're out there, fighting away, working their fingers to the bone, so to speak, trying to get ahead. And it's like, for me, last year was like we had mentioned, that awakening, but it was also like, it's time to step back and become resourceful.
Mm-hmm.
When you can look at things from another perspective, step back out of the situation, surrender to the circumstance, and say, okay, how do I make this work for me?
Yeah,
Right? How
absolutely.
do I fill my bank account now that I don't have a 9 to 5? Right? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
But there were so many great productive lessons from last year,
Yeah, absolutely.
to really start to look at what are your choices. And then once you have decided that there is a choice, now it's to make a definite decision for the choice that you want and
Absolutely.
follow through.
That
And yeah, I, I,
that
sh- I share with I share with my clients, and in the work that I do is always remember it doesn't matter what other people think of you or feel about you or say about you. It matters what you think of you, how you feel about you,
right.
right? How you perform,
Absolutely.
right? And so,
Absolutely.
yeah,
You won't be responsible when you get to them pearly gates. He's not gonna say, "Well, Michi, what did Beverly do?" No, he ain't gonna ask me about Beverly. He gonna ask me about me.
That's right. Oh gosh, I got to show you this other analogy too. This is so fun. Is this guy has struggled all his life, and just was so angry at God. It's like you're supposed to be helping me, and all of these stories. We've heard the stories, we've played the story ourselves, right? And so one day he ends up dead, right? And he meets Archangel Michael and says, what you doing here? He goes, I don't know. Something just happened. There was this big accident and I just showed up here. Where am I? He said, well, you're on the other side of the veil. Now it's time to meet your maker. Oh, he says. It's like, okay, so I get to go meet God? Well, before we do that, we're going to take a walk. Kind of down memory lane, so to speak, right? It's like, oh, okay. So it's like he walks into this like hotel, right? And they're walking down the hallway and there's all these doors and all of a sudden here's a door with his name on it. Oh, wow. Okay. He opens the door and there's like all these boxes in there. Different wrappings, different sizes, different shapes. Some were old, some were new, some were ragged. And he's like, he looks at Archangel Michael and he says, what's this? And Archangel Michael says, let me tell you here. These are all the gifts that God gave you that you didn't receive.
Wow.
Whoa. So Archangel Michael says, now, I'm going to give you an option. It's probably going to be the biggest decision you ever made from all the battles you've been fighting down there and not paying attention to the gifts that were given. I can send you back and you can make a difference, or you can go meet your maker and explain why you didn't receive what was given. Whoa, now there's a choice for all of us, right?
I'm gonna sign up to go back. I'm going back.
So take that second chance. That's what this little analogy is all about. Sometimes you get a second chance and other times you don't. So start looking around in life. Where is it that you're not receiving the gifts that are being given? Because they're given to us consistently. Mm-hmm. And again, it goes back into that surrender. Pay attention. Get over your bad self, as they would say, right? If it's not working, it's nobody's fault out there. It's in here. Change it.
Yes.
Change it. It only gets better when
you do better. One of my favorite quotes by Maya Angelou is, when you know better, you do better.
There you go. And it's putting it into action.
Make the change.
Yes. Yeah, and you have the choice. We are in this world of duality. God gave us free will. He said, I'm not doing it for you. You get your little butt down there, play, have an adventure. No, I'm always here. You can always, come back for answers, for direction, because I'm here waiting for you. Yeah, but I'm putting you down here with free will. What do you want to do? Don't blame me and hold me responsible because I just put that on you. Right? Your free will. Right? And so, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
That's the whole thing. Like, I hear people sometimes say, well, why would God let these things happen? No. God didn't let anything happen. He gave us free will and a choice. And people make choices that affect not only themselves, but others.
That's right. That's a powerful statement right there, Michi. And it's so true and it's valuable. We can't hold others responsible for our choices. Yeah. The blame game, right? No.
Yeah. It's easy to blame.
It is. It is.
You don't want to take responsibility for your own self. Right. So blame it on the economy, blame it on the government, blame it on your job, blame it on your next door neighbor, blame it on the dog.
Well, I'm like this because at 10 years old, it's like, you're not 10 anymore. right?
Right.
If you don't like the story,
Rewrite
rewrite
it.
it.
Yeah.
We didn't even practice that.
Yeah, rewrite it. It's not set in stone.
That's right. That's
We're,
right.
we're it's moment by moment. You don't like the story from 2 seconds ago, fix it right now.
Just
Like,
change it. That's
yeah,
right.
it's that easy, that simple. We
It
make
is.
everything hard. We make things hard when they don't have to be hard.
Oh, that is so true. And it's a crazy world. It's just like you said earlier, that hamster wheel. Here we are on that hamster wheel going around and around and around. Stop the merry-go-round, stop the world and let me off. Well, it's your world.
Yeah.
It's your merry-go-round,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
If you're going to
indeed.
jump off the merry-go-round, make the merry-go-round go away so you don't have a tendency to jump back on.
Yeah. That part.
So we look at this brain chatter. We all have brain chatter, right? And that's your past saying, but remember when? But remember when? But when isn't there anymore? And you have to ask yourself, where do you live? Do you live in your past or do you live in the now? You can't change what's back there. But what you do here today in the now is going
That's
to
the only
make,
thing that matters.
yes, and it'll make your future what you want it to be, because if you continue doing the same thing over and over and living in that past, your future is going to look exactly the same because you're not shifting in any of the elements of what you're doing. So quit blaming it on, oh, when I was 3 years old and poor little me, this happened. You know what? It happened to everybody. It was an experience. It's what you do with that experience. It's what you
Absolutely.
allow that experience to do for you. Is it
Right.
going to make you grow or is it going to take you into the abyss? Your choice. Right?
Right. Free will. There you go.
Free will. That's right. That's
I
right.
want to use all of my days wisely. I want to, when I go and meet my maker, I want to hear good, well done, good and faithful servant. I don't want to have that situation where they take me to a room and they show me boxes of things I didn't receive because I
Right.
wasn't paying attention.
Right. And pay attention is really it. When that brain chatter starts happening, stop it. Just say, Wait a minute, wait a minute. That was then, but this is now." Begin to reset. Reset that mindset. I've got a little class coming up. It's a 4-week intensive on reset your mindset.
Hmm.
And it's all about really understanding the workings of the brain, of the mind, of your consciousness, bringing all these pieces together to make things understandable and how you can perform, how you can move yourself out of an uncomfortable situation
Mm-hmm.
and make it comfortable,
Right.
right? And it is simple.
Yeah.
Is it
Mindset
easy?
is everything.
But it's
Mindset
simple.
is everything. Even in
Yeah,
business, mindset is everything. How you view your money, how you view your clients, all those things will show up and affect your business. And I've had people say, well, I don't understand. I have all these strategies. I have this. I've had this coaching program. Number one problem is your mindset, your thought, what you're speaking out of your mouth, and how it's coming across. You're
right,
sabotaging yourself without even realizing that that's what you're doing.
right.
So it doesn't matter how much strategy you have. If your personal development and your inner processes are jacked up, you're going to continue to not make money in your business. Doesn't matter
Yes,
how good your strategies are, you
right,
know. So
right.
those are kind of things that, I do and I work on when I work with people, that you have to work on that at the same time that you're working on your business,
Right.
or it'll fail.
And that personal development is very, very important because if you don't know who you are, how are you going to know what your purpose is or where you're going? Right.
Yeah.
And you talked about strategy. Strategy and theory kind of run hand in hand. It's right. It's the system and the
Yeah.
chronological order and how you put it. Systems work.
Right.
People don't.
Right.
right? So start looking what those systems are, and the key element was right there is what we said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Have clarity,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Get clear. That's like one of my little slogans. Get clear, got strategy, secure the bag. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. That sounds like a good little process to follow,
Yeah.
right?
Get clear, got strategy, secure the bag. But it's a lot of time spent here getting clear. You can't
Right.
get the strategy first with no clarity. Been there, done that.
Yeah,
You're
yes.
talking to no one.
And it goes
So,
nowhere.
yes, you have to get clarity first. And I understand people don't want to do that because it takes time.
Well, it takes digging deeper because a lot of people say, "Okay, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I want to do," and it's like, okay, that's really a pretty broad statement. Let's kind of squeeze it down, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Squeeze it down? How do I do that?" Right?
Yeah.
And then you
And
begin
sometimes you gotta
squeezing
keep
and
squeezing and
squeezing
squeezing.
and
Yes.
squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, and they're like going crazy. It's like, there's no squeeze left. Yeah, there's one more squeeze left, right? And when you get that aha moment of clarity, it's like a 360 awakening.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yep. It's just like the river starts flowing freely. You're going uphill with the flow and you're not rowing backwards or doing all this excess stuff. You're in flow and ease. But
Correct.
it takes the clarity. It takes doing the work. It takes getting clear.
And getting started.
Yes, that's the first thing. You gotta start. That's it. You gotta start.
Right.
And then you can get clear. But first, you gotta start.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people kind of are afraid to take that first step because they're trying to perfect everything,
Yeah, you don't have to
right?
be perfect. Just do like Nike. Just do
Oh,
it.
I love that because I say that all the time. Just become a Nike. Do it.
Just do it. Don't wait
Right.
for it to be perfect. It will never be perfect. You will
Yeah.
never have it everything you need. You will never know everything you need to know. It's called faith.
There
You
you go.
step you step out on faith one step at a time, and as you make those steps, God will give you more direction. He'll give you more picture. He'll tell you more of what wants you to do. He'll show you where he wants you to go. Imagine if God showed us our end, we wouldn't be able to handle that. We wouldn't. It unfolds as we're able to handle
Exactly.
what he wants us to do.
Exactly. And again, it goes in with that belief system, but you've got to start. And I love what you said. It's never going to be perfect. It's not.
Transform your
But
BS
there
belief
you go.
systems.
Right. And again, that perception, your perception is so relevant, because your version of perfect is somebody else's version of unperfect,
Yeah.
right?
It's
And you know
better to
what?
be done than perfect.
That's right.
Done than perfect. Just be done. And then you move to the next step and you're done again.
Well, your
You move to
guidance gets going, your belief system, like you said, your faith, becomes stronger because you're seeing actions happening, you're seeing results taking place.
absolutely.
Results don't happen if you
If
don't
you
make a
don't take
move.
action, yes.
It's like, okay, right?
Yeah, no results. So
Yeah,
if you're not getting anywhere, what are you doing?
yeah,
That's a valid question. What are you doing?
exactly.
I don't know.
Duh-duh-duh.
Um,
Okay, so
yep.
you mentioned that you are helping your clients in a virtual way,
Hmm.
a virtual presence, which obviously I would assume, and I'm going to speak it, is in the digital world.
Yes, I'm an online business coach. So we do things through Zoom, through Facebook groups, through other digital means. So I don't meet my clients in person. We work through technology.
And
We work and connect through technology. Yes.
technology isn't going anywhere, is it?
No, it's not. It's only going to get better.
Bigger and better and greater.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question here. Are you
Okay.
familiar with virtual reality?
I was not prior to last week before we had this conversation.
Okay. So a lot of people think virtual is one thing and virtual reality is the same when in essence it's not. And why virtual reality is the next level up from what we're doing, and like right here in the Zoom, right? It is a connection, but it's not really connectedness because you're
Hmm.
over here in this little square and I'm over here in this little square,
Right.
right? When you are on a virtual reality platform, and by the way, you don't need these big Oculus glasses to be on a platform.
Hmm.
So the gaming industry has taken virtual reality to a multi-billion with a B
Mm.
dollar industry through the games and that interaction.
Hmm.
It's the world of the avatar, and 2021 is the world of the avatar. Look around. Now you're doing digital things. How many
Yep.
people are putting their little avatars on there? Because
Yeah.
Facebook's getting ready to launch this big Horizon thing that's a half person, right?
Yeah.
It's a little
Some of those
cartoon.
are really cute. Those
Yeah,
little avatars, they're really cute.
they are. And what's interesting is the mind. We talk about the mind and how the brain functions. We accept avatars. It really is acceptable. Civilizations before technology spoke in avatars, in directions. They used analogies like animals, like the Native Americans spoke about the wolf. And the little
Hmm.
boy comes to the chief, right, and says, I have this war going on inside of me. And I have this one wolf that keeps telling me I should do this and this and this, right? And it doesn't feel comfortable because it doesn't feel right. But I have this other wolf over here telling me to do all these good things and do this and this and this. But it
The
sounds,
angel and the devil, that's what it
it,
sounds like.
well, it really is. It's that, it's that medium that we all have,
Yeah.
right? Those two different forces of energy. And the little boy goes to the chief and he asks him and he explains this and he says, which one's going to win? Who am I? Which one do I become? And the chief says, you become the one you feed.
Mm.
So we have to look at that. What are we
Absolutely.
feeding? So this was an avatar. This was the description of the wolf that was inside. All the parables, things throughout the Bible.
Hmm.
Everything has been done in that form, in that animated form. Well,
Hmm.
now we have technology. Look at our storybooks. Look at fairy tales, right? Little Red Riding Hood, the Three Pigs, and now you look up what's going on with Sesame Street and Blue's Clues and a lot of these new ones that are coming out. How do we teach our children?
Right.
Through avatars. Because why? It's safe and I can listen to them because it's not like another human pointing the finger. You got to do this and you better do it like that. Because hey, we've all been down that road, right? So it's a belief system. It isn't acceptable. And virtual reality is all about the world of the avatar. Our movies. What are the biggest selling movies? The animated ones.
Hmm.
I don't have a TV, but I'm being told that there's stories on there. I think South Park and The Simpsons or something like that. Because
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
wa-
into the
I
into
don't
that.
watch those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they're animated.
Hmm.
So basically, what we did at DBI is we took the game out of the game. We left
Hmm.
all the fun,
Hmm.
and now we turn this platform into business, for education,
Hmm.
and for entertainment.
Right.
So let's stop for a moment and talk about that business side of virtual reality. You know, Last year, 2020, boom, everybody was out of their brick and mortar, and it's like, it's not going to work, it's not going to work, it's this, it's that. Well, we got to do something, right? And so they're hooking up phone systems and you name it to try to keep things going as much as possible.
Right.
Right? But we're in these Zooms and we get zoomed out. And we get zoomed out because of the static that's going on, the movements, what's going on in the background. Because the eye camera goes to the corners. Your peripheral is always bringing it into display, to bring it into clarity. And we get that Zoom fatigue. When you're on the virtual reality platforms, you're in those worlds. Everyone is on their computer, but the whole screen now is the office. You can create design.
I see what you're saying. So like the same way you would go into your workspace at work,
Right.
Because like our office was open, and so we had cubicles. We didn't, not cubicles, but desks. They took out all the cubicle style, and then it was just open seating with the desks and stuff, and so everybody could see everybody and all that kind of stuff like that. So
Right. So
really
when
help for everybody to feel more connected.
connected,
Cubicles going all the way up to the top of the wall, or
right.
whatever. You can't really see anyone inside
Right.
of the four walls. So,
And that's what's happened in 2020. We were stuck in the four walls of our homes, right? So when you're on that platform, you can design that office the way you want. You can have little boardroom tables, or you can have your own private desks. And the nice thing about it is everyone is in the same room. Everyone is there looking at the same thing. And it makes it a lot easier, so you don't have to try to make a phone call. You don't, you don't have to send an email and then the person didn't get it, it went into spam, or they haven't checked their emails and you're waiting for a response. Well, when everyone is on in the virtual reality office, all they have to do is get up and walk over to that person and say, "Hey, Michi, I'm looking for this file. I can't find it in any of my stuff. Do you have the file on this information?" And Michi can say, "Let me check." So here she is in her home office desk, but she's on the platform talking with the person. So her and I are talking, avatar to avatar, face to face.
yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I found it. Great. Let me throw it in an email and I'll send it right over to you." Awesome. Right? You can actually have right there at your presence that total connectedness. But instead of having to drive to an office, you're right here in the technology world of that office. And as far as the business owner, you don't have to pay rent on a brick and mortar anymore. You don't have to pay electric bills. You don't have to put furniture in there. Look at all the savings that are happening.
Right. I get it.
But
it's
you're
just like being in a meeting all day.
pretty
And
much.
except that's the platform that you go to work on.
Right. And you can design it to look as pretty as you want, and you take a break. We can have a breakout room. We can have like a little dinette thing to where it's like
that is pretty
yeah,
cool.
it is. It is because, everybody can have lunch together. Hey, let's all go for lunch. Everybody goes, gets their lunch, they come back. They're all sitting around the table and you're having a conversation, and talking and eating together. It is so much fun, right? But it's all done in the avatar world. But you know what? The brain says, this is a real person right here beside me. Right beside me.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Instead of going to the office every day, you just go to the office on the computer.
Poof. Well, because what do? You go to the office, and now if you're not in your little cubicle, but you're sitting behind your desk, everybody's what? On the computer anyways. Well, what the heck? It's crazy. I drive for an hour and a half in traffic to sit down and turn my computer on that I can do at home, right?
Right.
So when you look at the virtual reality, direction of doing a virtual presence, it's amazing what the difference is and how connected you really feel. So, Michi, when you talk about your clients and bringing them together and helping them scale their businesses, virtual reality scales on a whole nother level. There's a
Yeah.
lot of ways to scale inside the virtual reality that wasn't even available in our brick and mortar world,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
And you're limited in your Zooms,
Yep.
right? So we're going to share that with you because we're going to show you what it looks like for
Yes,
a
that's
demo.
gonna
So if
be
anybody
fun.
wants a demo, just comment below here and say demo, right? And we'll make sure that you actually see virtual reality. But let's go back to Michi because this is about you and how you can move forward with your business and helping others to become that better them by beginning to recognize and like we said, that clarity. The number one thing to focus on is that clarity. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, they're not going to drive to Texas and find you, right?
Nope. They're gonna find me on Facebook. They're gonna find me on Instagram. They're gonna find me on Pinterest. They're gonna find me on Twitter, and they're gonna find it under Unicorn Tribe. UNIKORNTRYBE. And the difference in the letters is because we're all unique and we're all different. How I show up in the world is different than the other 7 billion people on this planet.
Oh,
And people
yes.
need me. They need what I have. They need me to show up. And so they need for every person who's hearing my voice to show up and be them. That's what the people need. When you don't show up, when you don't do your work, when you don't step out on faith, you are literally hindering someone else.
You're not receiving the gift that's been given, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There are people waiting for you. Your name has been spoken in rooms that you don't even know of. Show up. Find
Show up.
me.
That's right.
Let me help you take it to the next level.
There you go.
Reach
Look up the
out.
unicorn with a K, right?
Yes.
And just
Unicorn tribe.
remember this beautiful little face here staring
Yes.
back at you right now. And you can
Yes.
find her all over the place. And the best place to find her is right here. Comment below. Interact with this. Talk to her. She's here to give you that direction and help you start your clarity, move through life in a smooth way, and
Yes.
learn how to surrender. Develop your faith.
Yes. Congruent with ease. Next month, February, let me see the date, February 8th through the 13th, I'm doing a free 5-day live workshop, which is going to teach you day one, 3 ways to get your business mindset right, God's way. Day two, ditch the hustle and be a CEO with ease and flow.
There you
So
go.
so be a CEO is an acronym, so it means balanced, entrepreneur, action oriented, Christian, empowered, and on the money. So that's what being a CEO is. On day
Okay.
three, we're going to give you 3 strategies you can implement today so your business can run without you. Day four is 3 hidden profit levers you can pull to decrease your effort and increase your profits because it's all about profit and not revenue. The secret to creating a soul offer that stands out and sells out. That's going to be day five, and that is going to be in February. So if you are interested in that workshop, go to beaceoworkshop.gr8.com and get signed up today. Doesn't cost you a thing, but some time. That's it.
There you go. All right, we'll have to put that workshop down here. Now, are you going to do that workshop, more than once, or is this a one-time thing?
Nope. I generally do it about every 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
So, yep,
We'll
every two to
definitely
three
we'll
months.
definitely make note of that because it sounds like something that every one of you out there should be doing this. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, when is this? I got to put that on my calendar. This is exciting." Right?
Yeah,
Again, learning from others who are experts in their field will
yes,
only help you better yourself, and that's what this show is all about. So the little
absolutely.
program that you're offering, that 5 days workshop, right? To becoming a
Hmm.
better CEO
Yep.
and doing it on building it on faith and trust in yourself, getting that clarity, everything that she just spoke here. Wow. So give that link again one more time for the audience.
It's Be a CEO workshop. So BEACEO workshop.gr8.com.
Awesome. Is that for greatness?
Yeah, Get Response. That's who I use for my my email marketing stuff.
Oh, that's so awesome. That is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Michi. This was so educational. But
Yes,
again, all the knowledge in the world without action is worthless. When you take action, it becomes priceless.
absolutely, guys. Have the most amazing day ever.
There you go. You heard it from the expert, right? So it's time to go out there, be that best you that you can be, because Michi and I, where is she? She's over here. Michi and I are going to have the best we are going to be the best we that we can be. So everyone go out there, make it a great day, and we will see you on another show. Bye.
Bye.